I'm going to be positioning a new product platform from IBM called Pure Systems, and I'm going to position it so you kind of know what it is and where does it fit. You are very welcome to come with questions or anything if you have any during my presentations here. Just to set the scene, where are we now? This is according to IDC. Perhaps I should even use your small pointer here. Which one will give me light? That will be this one, I'm sure. If we see like here, servers grew times 6 in the last 10 years. That's in terms of the footprint, of course, in terms of how many actually machines out in terms of virtualized, it's immense. Storage grew times 70. I mean, that's a lot of growth. Interesting enough, if we look up here, 85% idle computer capacity. Wow, you have bought an awful lot of computers you're not using. This, of course, is the European number. I'm sure it doesn't be exactly the same here, but they are stupid in Europe. 50% of servers run 24/7 without being actively used on a daily basis. Of course, that doesn't happen up here. But sometimes you get an old application, you have it running, and you only use it perhaps once a month or at quarter end, and suddenly you realize, what about all that capacity? It's just standing there, it's being vacant, it's running. Rest of Europe is using power, but you're not using anything out of the machine. Well, that's one thing. So we've been very good. We've been growing. Your problem is that your budget really hasn't been growing. It is flat at best. It might even be asked to be decreasing it. So how can you have growth like this over here? What was it we were told by Gartner? That in 2 days we create more data than was done since the start of civilization until 2003? Wow. So you have to manage all that storage in a flat budget. Congratulations, you have a very exciting job, I'm sure. Now, and I know, and I have learned that this is, of course, only Europe, and that's not the way it is here on Iceland, because you are so lucky, you don't pay much for power. For the rest of us, poor suckers, we started kind of over here, where the hardware cost, the cost we spent on buying hardware was more than half of the total cost for the actually IT operation. Now, if we look at the picture today, administration is more than half. I presented this for CSC in Denmark, and I said, Torben, you're wrong. 50% is not the right number for administration. I said, well, I'm sorry, so what is the right number? It's 70% for us. So they spend 70% of their IT cost doing what they do in daily life, just running the systems. Wow. So why is it that you as a customer are so eager to get 5% more discount? It really doesn't matter. I'm not saying the hardware should come for free, but it's really, that should not be your focus. Your focus should be over here. How do you manage your stuff on the floor today? So let's see where it is we're actually going. I would like to be using myself as an example. I got an old now Nokia mobile 10 years ago. It was very good for making phone calls. It was actually good for making SMS eventually, and that's a good way to keep in touch with your kids. So I used it a lot. I'm pretty fond of music. So for birthday, I at 1 year got an iPod from my kids. So I had the music with me wherever I go. I'm pretty fond of taking pictures of buildings. So I used to have my camera with me when I'm traveling. So suddenly I have 3 devices. So when this smartphone got, I thought, wow, that is neat. Now I can get my music, my camera, my phone. Actually, IBM has allowed me to use my mail down to one system. Why is that smart? Because it doesn't fit much into my pocket. But the most important thing is, I only have one operation tool for this. It's pretty easy. I know how to operate this. I know I have one button, and I do the rest with my fingers. So the management tool I now have for my music, for my camera, for my phone, for my kind of mail, is the same. I'm pretty good at using this machine now. Last summer, I wanted to go sailing. I do that every summer, and the antenna on my boat was broken. So I could buy a new one. I had to order that. That would take me a week. So I looked around and said, wow, why don't I go to App Store somewhere up here and buy the C cards I use? I could do that for 400 Danish kroner. That would be 8,000 Icelandic kroner. So I bought all the sea maps covering the Danish water, the Swedish waters, put it on my machine. Why was that smart? Because I have a GPS here as well. So suddenly I have a navigation system on my smartphone, and I knew the management tool, of course. That was so easy. So I was up and running in a matter of hours. Now, why or how can they do that? They can do that because they know exactly what kind of server I have here. They know the storage I have here. They know the network. So they can make a ISV, an app, a program for me very easy because they know the platform I have. For doing these presentations here, I thought, well, what about if we could do that smarter? So I kind of said, why don't you give me an app so I can control my slideshow from here? I got it for free. I downloaded it. It was up and running in, I would say, 10 minutes. So now I can control everything from here as well. Why is that smart? It's the same management tool I use for all the other things. It's been integrated for this platform. It's been tested. It was easy to download. Yes, I could buy the more expensive one, which would be 30 Danish kroner, what is that, 600 Icelandic kroner? Or I could take the free one. I, of course, have chosen the free one. It might not work perfectly all the time, but just to give you an idea, why isn't we doing the same with IT? What is so different between a smartphone and IT? What happened if we could do some other smart things? What if we could take a system that has different platforms? That could be Power and System I thus. It could be x86 Microsoft. It could be Linux. And put them on some nodes or, oops. Oh, this one isn't running. Good, this one is. I could put them on server nodes. So I could have my platforms on the same server node type of things. What if I could get my storage as a device into this nodes in the same chassis here? What if I could get my networking down there? What about virtualization? Well, we would like to all, and I hear you are one of the best in Europe in terms of virtualization your workload. So what if we could do that? And I wanted to have the same management system to be running all of that. Why does it have that we need server administrators, storage administrators, network administrators? You might even have virtualization administrators. Why is that? Why couldn't it be I/O or infrastructure administrators? Why couldn't we put them together as a bundle and say, this is administrators for all your infrastructure? We want to do it with an open tool, so you can work with whoever you're used to in terms of virtualization. We would like to create an app store, so you can download stuff. You can download the ISV programs, like we had SAP in here earlier, so you can get SAP, get it down. It's tested towards this platform. What about patches? If you want to update your server, what if you can get a patch which was already tested towards this platform, so you didn't have to do it yourself? So what we're actually doing is we have, on April 11th, announced a new platform within IBM. It's basically new nodes. They look the same, but either you run Power, Linux on it, or you run Windows, x86, Microsoft, or Linux on it. But they can be together, so you can have one Microsoft and one Power node in the same chassis. You can get the networking done. You have that in the same chassis. You have the integrated storage. You have the management to control all of it. And you have the pure center, the pure systems center, the IBM App Store kind of. So you can download whatever you need in terms of product. Wouldn't that be a future? What will you get out of it? Well, first of all, you get a management tool where you can control all your infrastructure. So you have a picture where you can see the front and the back of the system. You can take your cursor, you can move it up and say, who are you, guy? Well, I am node A1. I am running the following 4 applications. I have this amount of storage attached to me, and I use the following ports to talk to the outside world. Oh, impressive. What about if I would say, so who is actually using these 8 ports up here? That could be important if I say, I want them offline. But before I do that, I know I'll be killed if I don't take the load of those ports. So please, port 1 to 8, tell me what are the applications you are running, which are the nodes you are connected to, and automatically move that load from those 8 ports to another 8 ports. That would be pretty smart. You can make a quick search. So just as you do when you go Google, you write node, and as you write node, the system will say, I guess he is asking what kind of nodes I have. So I will start listing the nodes I have down here. So whenever I come to writing node and A, the information about that node is already down here. Like in this sentence, you can't see it, but I've been writing C and M. So it tells me all the components within the chassis that has a C and an M in the naming convention. You can do it remotely, of course. You can do it from a mobile device. But the most important thing is actually you can do it with experience. So we have built in the IBM experience from the way we run our own shops, the way our consultants have been helping customers, the way the ISVs would like this to be running, like SAP has a very good idea about how they think their application should be running at best. So we have used this setup wizard. When you boot up the system, it will say, hey, hang on a minute, give me a few minutes, I would like to see what you have inside your chassis here. I would like to see what kind of infrastructure you have actually in here, and I will give you my best suggestion how you should set this up. You can take this suggestion and you can use it, and you can actually grow from there and say, well, but I would like to change a little so and so, but it's a pretty fast start instead of you have to do all that yourself. You have unmatched integration control across servers, storage, and network. You have the virtualization built in from the very start. You have a new world-class user experience because a lot of the stuff can be done automatically. I'm saying can because you can also decide, no, I want to do it the old-fashioned way. But then perhaps you should not go this way. And you can integrate with the platforms you already have there. On April 11, we announced 2 parts of the Pure system. The Pure system is the basic family name. Within Pure systems, we have 2 offerings now, or 2 products. We have the Pure Flex, which is an infrastructure system, and we have the Pure Application System, which is a platform system. Pure Flex is infrastructure, so that is server, storage, and networking, virtualization, and management built in from delivery. So when you get it, it's all been integrated, pre-tested, and set up. So it's an infrastructure as a service box you're getting here. Based on this box, our software friends have taken this infrastructure and said, now this is the infrastructure we would like to use for building our appliances. So we take your infrastructure and we put on our software stack on it and make the Pure application systems. As a start, we have 2 applications. We have database and WebSphere. So if you want a system which is optimized for world-class database or WebSphere application, that Pure application system could be it. Or you can do it yourself, as you do today, but you have the infrastructure ready to go when you get the system. It's integrated by design. By that I mean this is not a bundle. We did not take our current blade systems, our current storage, and our current networking and said, now we bundle it together, we call it something else, but this is a new product. This started out in 2008 with a very clean piece of paper saying, if we should do something like an expert integrated system, what would it be looking like? Well, we would like to have the servers doing this way, knowing that they should be talking to storage and networking and managed by one tool. We would like the networking and so on. We knew that we, at the end, wanted it all to be integrated. So from a design point, we knew what it was we wanted to do. It was not like, oh, by the way, now we also want to have the same management tool. We knew that when we started out. So we have integrated the management. I don't know why I'm doing something wrong here. We have integrated the management across all the elements in the solution from the very start. Security is built in the firmware when you get it, so that's not something you have to do yourself. And it is built for cloud, and I'll show you that on the next slide. So it's starter kit. Everything is already pre-integrated before you even have to do anything. We have built in what we call the patterns of expertise, which is our experience as how we think this should be done best. You can use it, or you can leave it. But for most of you, I would say you would be up and running in a matter of hours instead of days or weeks, because it's all been integrated. We are working with over 125 solution providers, ISV, SAP, Microsoft, and so on, all the big ERPs. They have optimized their systems to be running best on this infrastructure platform. We have built in analytics, so as we just heard from the Gartner guy, the system would look at it and say, wow, if this is the way you're doing now and this is how we are developing, I think that you will have a problem 2 days from now in terms of the load you're putting on one node. I will start offloading this node and put it somewhere else. You have the Pure System Center, which is the app store from IBM and our vendors. It has IBM stuff on it, and it has ISV stuff on it. And whoever is interested can go on that app store thing and get the applications there, so it's possible to be downloading them. Just like I downloaded the thing for controlling my slideshow. Why is it when we buy a phone, we don't think so much about what's actually inside? We believe that Apple or whoever, Nokia, have made the integration at the best possible way. But when you buy computers, you always think you know better. Well, I have this server and have this storage and this network, and this is how I put it together. It might be the right solution for some of you. It might be the wrong solution for some of you. You might be able to automate or integrate it and do it very much faster and in a different way. You have the Pure experience because it's actually just a setup. Add the power to it, add the network connections, and you will be up and running. How am I doing on time?
Just a minute, check my phone. You are 17:26.
Whatever that means. I have 7 minutes? Left, yeah. So it comes in 3 different flavors and a cloud version. So it comes in an Express, which is the small, the entry box. It only have the entry level of the management software. It can, at a minimum, have 1 node. I mean, you have to be able to do at least some productive work on it. There is a middle one, the standard one. It has a more feature-wise rich management software. It has double amounts of ports, and it has more storage. But you can really pick and choose as you want to, and you can upgrade from one to another. So you can start with the minimum configuration, and then you can upgrade however you want and with the pace you want. We have built in what is called feature on demand or capacity on demand in terms of the ports in there. When you buy the system, we have filled the system up with as many ports as can be in there. So if you need more ports, if you grow and you say, well, I need additional ports, or I need faster ports or anything, they are in there and they are controlled by a software key like we do on the mainframe today, so you can easily get more ports instead of waiting for getting a physical shipment. You have the choice of AIX and System I, of Microsoft Windows, Linux, Red Hat, and SUSE. You can use Power VM, KVM, VMware, or Microsoft Hyper-V. So this is VMware country, I've been told. So you can go there. You also have the options to say, now I know that VMware have decided to change their license rules a little. I wonder what it would cost me if I moved to something else. Well, you can test it here. So you can test what if I did something different. Power 7, x86 processors in the nodes, in different nodes. And they cannot be in the same node. But within a chassis, you can have 14 nodes, and you can have 1 power and 1 x86, or you can have 1 power and 13 Microsoft nodes. So you can mix and match as you want to, but you cannot run both power and x86 on the same node. That's the only thing you cannot do. The rest you can kind of decide yourself how you want to do it. And we have taken the Smart Cloud Entry offering and loaded it onto a system. So if you want to start playing with cloud, you get a tested and a pre-integrated infrastructure up and running. We can show how you, with 4 clicks, get the software up and running as well, so you have a cloud. You don't need to do anything yourself. The infrastructure comes integrated, up and running, ready, and the cloud is loaded to it. So it's a very, very easy way to start your cloud implementation, if that is what you want to do. Why are we actually doing that? What is it we would like you to be able to do? Well, first of all, we would like you to be helping you even more with the consolidation work. So consolidate some of the servers that IDC was telling you, I showed you in the start of the presentation, which are idle and not doing anything. Why not move it to one of these nodes? So use the capacity during the day and not only at the very end of a month or a quarter. We would like you to be able to optimize the performance you get out of your SAP system, because SAP has taken their application and optimized it towards this infrastructure. As with the phone, they know exactly what kind of server storage network there is in there. So they know how to turn different knots to be tuning the application. We would like you to move some of your workforce from making consolidation and optimization efforts and do the innovation, which at the end of the day is where the value is for your company, I would think. Do new stuff. So why spend 70% or more of the IT cost on doing normal daily handling instead of shifting some of it over here? Or you can accelerate cloud so you can get started with cloud much faster. What's in it for you? First of all, I would say this is a chance to get much faster time to value. Instead of starting with systems you have to test separately, you have to start integrating them, you have to start testing them when they have been integrated, you have to load the application and start testing that, running it in test mode for a while, and then move it into production. Here you can be up and running in, well, a matter of hours. You can automate the workload, so you can automate the scalability. So you can say, now I don't need to buy 8 nodes, because it's only at the very peak I need 8. I only want 5. But I want those 5 to be specifically used for application A at peak. And then system, please move all other stuff away and say, sorry guys, but I have an SLA to achieve, which means I cannot be running you currently. So you can automate that. Instead of having multiple tools in your management or your administration shop, you can have one tool and you can control all from there. Yes, I know, we will not get a storage administrator to be an expert in network management on day one. But I'm saying he will have the chance to move because it's the same tool. So it's the same feel and look for him. So when he has learned how to do the storage administration, it's pretty easy for him also to do something on the servers and on the network. I also know that when I go out to customers and I present this, there will be somewhere, normally in the back, who have a lot of Cisco certification, and he will say, bullshit, this will never work. It doesn't work in mine, I need my expert. And he's actually right. We certainly need his experience, but we don't need it doing daily work. We don't need it to be setting up systems, which is pretty normal, just takes a lot of time. We need him to be developing new stuff or fixing any problems you might have. But why not automate some of the daily work where we really don't feel we need his high level of expertise, but we can do it with manually or automated most of the tasks. So it is a special message here, because I know there's a lot of people, because of job security, so say, oh, no, not me. But I'm just saying, move those resources to innovation. Move them to do something that gives value for you, not doing your daily work. Yeah, I think we will skip that, because in terms of time, I have time for questions. I have also a little about where does it fit in the competitive picture. I have also a little about where is it in terms of which ISVs is it we are actually running with. Let me end before any questions saying, is this the end of the platforms as we know today? No, certainly not. I cannot see why we should not keep expanding and renewing our current blade population. We just did it on March 23rd. We announced a new processor based on the Intel centigrades processor. We had just announced extensions to our power, and we will keep doing that. We used to have 4 platforms within IBM. Then we merged System I and Power to 1, so we have 3. Now we get back again at 4 platforms. So we will be there. This makes sense if your problem is with management, with running your daily business, with having skills updated and educated. This might make sense. But I'm sure there's a lot of you who say, well, I use Blade currently. It's great. I know exactly how to run it. And when I need extra capacity, I just buy one more Blade and put next to it. Fine, stay there. I'm just saying, you are saying that we, as a customers, would like flexibility and choices. So here's one more choice. And if your problem within your shop is the management and hard to get time to be doing develop and innovation, then this might be a solution for you. Questions?
What about the expansion of hard disks?
That can be done on the fly. It can be attached external storage. The storage is based on Storewise 7000. Worked differently and made into a storage node fitting into the chassis. You can have 4 chassis in a rack, but you can also have external storage, and to that you can connect HP storage. So you can use what you currently have, but you need to have a Storewise either node or external storage to be integrated. But you can then use your current storage as well.
More questions?
I think the presentation will be delivered later, so you will get the slides. I'll be out here because I saw there was kind of interesting glasses out there, so I'll be around. If you have any questions or you want to discuss further, let me know, and I'll be happy to meet you. Thank you very much.